The offering of Hellfire is yet one more way the fiends have worked their claws into our world. Each mortal who thinks to master this fell power is yet one more fool offering his soul to the Lord of the Eighth. Not all the hells are places of fire. The eighth layer of the 9 hells is an icy hellscape, whose ice storms can tear flesh from bone. Cities embedded in the ice provide shelter for guests and prisoners of Cania's ruler, the brilliant and conniving archdevil Mephistopheles. The frigid layer of Stygia seems a balmy paradise compared to the icy wasteland known as Cania. Mile-thick glaciers grind across a forbidding landscape, only to crash into Cyclopean mountains. Screaming snowstorms pelt the white expanse of wilderness. Deep crevasses, often hidden by thin layers of snow, wait to devour the unwary traveler. Dotted across the land like so many signposts are the half-buried, icy corpses of foolish intruders who thought they could survive Cania's Arctic rigors. From a slowly melting throne, the Archduke of Cania oversees the activities of a legion of obsequious servitors. From 3 terraced levels below, dozens of icy tenements containing thousands of living spaces vault improbably skyward. These structures echo devilish society in a microcosm. Lowly least devils are crammed into tiny warrens at the base of each structure, and swaggering Hellfire masters enjoy vast suites at the top. Whenever a devil is promoted or demoted, its living assignment changes, so that no devil must face the distress of living next to an inferior, or the terror of close proximity to a superior. This guidebook is the next in my ongoing tour of places no sensible soul should ever tread. Nay, not merely the realms, gentles, but the very 9 hells themselves. I assure thee all that thou'lt find no more diligent guide than thy humble servant, Volothamp Gedam. These last few seasons I've trudged, slipped, shivered, and very nearly shattered from the icy wastes of Cania's endless frost, that I might bring thee, gentle traveller, some small wisdom should fate, folly, or infernal contract ever drag thee hither. Chapter 1. The Lord of Cania. In outward appearance, Mephistopheles, Archduke of Cania, typifies the archetypal handsome yet monstrous devil. Unlike most of his fellow archdukes, he's happy to entertain visitors purely for their amusement value. Though he has long been a power in Bator, Mephistopheles has allowed his obsession with a pet project to steal needed attention from his soul-harvesting efforts. This enterprise, the development of a form of magic fire with new and interesting properties, has sent his previously favoured minions, the Ice Devils, packing to the fringes of his chilly domain. There they grumble and fret, and wonder whether they should be working to correct their master's foolish behaviour, or conniving for a replacement. Meanwhile, his new courtiers, selected for their ability to deliver innovative applications of his Hellfire techniques, work to solidify their positions. Foremost among this group are Balfegor, Mephistopheles' consort, and the pit fiend Buldamesh. Mephistopheles' main goal is to build up his cult on the material plane by offering mastery of Hellfire as an incentive. Unlike other kinds of magic, which require their users to progress slowly along a dangerous path of adventure, the cultists of Mephistopheles offer Hellfire mastery to influential persons, regardless of their personal accomplishments. As an easy, painless route to fame, success, and domination, it has spread across many worlds. Mephistopheles plots to seize the throne of Bator and conquer the plains. He is Asmodeus's greatest enemy and ally, and the Archduke of Nessus appears to trust Mephistopheles' counsel when it is offered. Mephistopheles knows he can't depose Asmodeus until his adversary makes a grave miscalculation, and so both wait to see what circumstances might turn them against each other. Mephistopheles is also a godfather of sorts to Glasia, further complicating the relationship. Although the cult of Mephistopheles is rapidly expanding, it expends much more divine energy than it takes in. Soul harvesters working for the other archdukes try to speed their victims' journeys to Bator after conversion. But Mephistopheles orders his minions to keep his cultists alive so that they can recruit and continue the expansion. Though eventually Mephistopheles will reap a bumper crop of corrupt souls, his expansion efforts have left him temporarily overextended. He has been borrowing divine energy from his fellow rulers, particularly Desparta and Levistus, at an alarming rate. If his gamble pays off, his personal power will increase dramatically, and his diabolical cult will be more popular than those of any of his rivals. If it fails, he will be beholden to his fellow archdukes for eons. Though Mephistopheles has kept the full political import of his Hellfire project under wraps, his uncertain position hasn't completely escaped notice. Hellish observers expect the jostling for worshippers to heat up when the point of Mephistopheles' scheme becomes clearer. At that point, his creditors might begin to sabotage his recruiting drive to keep him in their debt. Though they are currently self-exiled to the fringes of Cania, ice devils are still the most common greater devils here. Cania also crawls with pain, devils, and horned devils and pit fiends now make up Mephistopheles' inner circle. Furthermore, hidden within ice caverns throughout the layer is a growing army of Hellfire engines. Chapter 2. Cania, by Volothamp Geddarm, thy ever-diligent and half-frozen guide. And so we begin with the glittering, treacherous heart of this frozen layer, the glacier Nagus and the citadel of Mephistar. Spread out beneath thee, if thou wert so unwise as to look over the edge of a devil's sky barge, lies an expanse of sparkling whiteness, ice upon ice, gleaming cruelly beneath a black and distant firmament. Out of this frozen sea rises the glacier Nagus, a towering mountain of ice locked in place by its encircling brethren, like a great clear fang thrust up from the jaws of Bartor. Carved cunningly from its gleaming translucent ice is the famed citadel of Mephistar, an edifice which ought by all rights to chill the heart on sight. Instead, it is, most unnervingly, oddly warm and inviting. Its walls shine like blue crystal, long causeways thrust out over bottomless ice chasms. Towers of flawless frost catch the faint light and cast it back in opalescent hues. All this splendor exists for one purpose: to cradle the palatial manor of Mephistopheles, Lord of Cania, Master of Cold and Hellfire both. If ever thou art invited within, remember, a trap that looks like a trap is the work of an amateur. This is the handiwork of an archduke. The frozen palatial estate of Mephistopheles, set within Mephistar, is a marvel of infernal craftsmanship. Walls, ceilings, floors, and furnishings all wrought from ice. Columns rise like frozen waterfalls. Vaulted ceilings resemble a frozen palisade. Even chairs and couches are sculpted from crystal clear frost and softened by nothing more than cunning shaping and devilish pride. Yet all these subtle intricacies are now masked and muted by an insidious change. The Archduke's continuing experiments with Hellfire have swathed his citadel in a foggy, thermal cloud, a creeping warmth that clings to stone and spirit alike. Within the palace, droplets gather and trails of moisture glisten along once sharp carvings. Here and there, puddles have begun to appear upon the gleaming floors, and delicate decorations, once crisp and flawless, have grown damp and sagging. To the keen observer, which I naturally am, the palace itself has become a symbol, a silent testament to the risks of Mephistopheles' grand Hellfire stratagem. The more he toys with that unholy flame, the more his perfect ice palace thaws around him. When even an archdevil's own home begins to weep gentles, it is worth wondering who shall drown first, his enemies or his ambitions. Within the bounds of Mephistar, there lies a place that would stir the heart of any mortal soul: the Frost Garden. Here, in some mad blend of artistry and cruelty, devils have fashioned a perfect recreation of an organic garden, yet every leaf and blossom is made of ice. Trees spread crystalline boughs overhead. Clusters of frozen flowers glimmer like jewels. Curling vines of frost twine around archways and trellises that never knew sap nor soil. For a breath or two, thou mightest think thyself in a noble's private garden at the height of spring. If spring had been strangled and then carved into sculpture, it is, I freely confess, one of the few genuinely beautiful places in all of Bator. Yet tarry too long in contemplation, and most mortals find a weight of sorrow settle upon them, as they reckon the cold, unliving nature of all this splendor. Nothing here has ever grown or bloomed. Nothing here will ever wither save under the heat of hellfire. Tending this exquisite mockery is the garden's sarcastic keeper, Yoga, a Gelagon wizard possessed of a tongue as sharp as any icicle. As the steamy warmth of Mephistopheles, the infernal vapours born of Mephistopheles' hellfire work, presses in upon the citadel, Yoga walks the paths of the frost garden and periodically blasts it with cone of cold spells to preserve its pristine chill. This, I'm told, he considers routine maintenance. When the Archduke seeks to seduce mortals to his cause, whether into pacts, service, or more intricate webs of obligation, he has been known to personally squire them through the frost garden, speaking softly of beauty, order, and the strength to defy even the natural order itself. Many a soul has taken its first step toward damnation while staring, enchanted, at a rose that never lived. Not far from the palace, rising like a blasphemous spear from the ice, stands the School of Hellfire, a structure that convinces me devils may be clever, but they are not always wise. This teetering, 99-story edifice is built of Batorian green steel, a strange and sinister metal that hungrily drinks in the chill of Cania and answers with a faint, sullen glow. The whole tower looks ever on the verge of toppling, yet somehow it clings to the glacier, defying gravity much as its master seeks to defy sense. Within, Batizu wizards endlessly pursue their research into hellfire magic. The tower's heart is a roomy central courtyard, open to the shrouded sky, where they conduct their blazing experiments. Jets and spheres of black-edged flame that burn without warmth, coils of fire that hiss like serpents, and other manifestations I deem safest observed from behind something very solid. Guarding the tower's doors and vital passages are hulking constructs known as Hellfire engines, which stand sentinel against intruders. These machines are not given to warning cries or polite inquiries. They are there to reduce the unauthorized to cinders, and by all accounts, they perform this task with unflagging enthusiasm. The denizens of the school are as wary as they are wicked. Fearful of Mephistopheles' wrath should his precious secrets be stolen, they keep perpetual watch for spies, infiltrators, and opportunistic thieves. Few things inspire such meticulous vigilance as the knowledge that one's failure will be redressed personally by an Archduke of Hell. Over all this madness presides Quagram, a horned pit fiend who serves as the school's dean. Quagram is notorious for his interest in visiting mortal magicians and scholars. He is ever eager to pick their brains for useful insights, new theories, and rare arcane lore, sometimes quite literally, if one believes the more gory tavern tales. Once he has gleaned what he desires, Quagram is said to efficiently murder any mortal who has provided him with a worthwhile idea, that he might take sole credit for their discoveries and ensure no rival claimant survives. Should thou, gentle reader, ever be offered a posting at this institution, thy humble guide strongly recommends declining, from afar, preferably through an intermediary. As if sagging palaces and unstable hellfire towers were not threat enough, there is one more peril thou must mark well: the toxic zone of Mephistopheles. The airborne effluvia from the school's hellfire experiments does not simply vanish into the infernal air. It drifts down upon nearby portions of the citadel like a malevolent mist, seeping into parapets, courtyards, and corridors. Over time, these vapors have permeated the surrounding ice, saturating it with unseen corruption. this tainted ice does not remain harmlessly inert. When it melts, even slightly, whether from Hellfire's warmth, the creeping thaw around Mephistopheles' court, or merely the presence of some luckless warm-blooded visitor, it releases the toxins trapped within. In short, gentles, I would advise never stepping foot on Cania. Thousands of feet beneath the glacier Tichamox, under countless tons of ice, lies the ancient city of Cania. Until recently, Cania was an inaccessible place of mystery and a testament to the power of Mephistopheles. Legend holds that the Archduke crushed its inhabitants in one fell swoop because its overlord sided with one of his rivals. Now, at their lord's behest, the devils staffing the school of Hellfire have begun to excavate Cania and plumb its secrets. The reason for this sudden interest is clear. Some recently recovered texts named Cania as the resting place of several relics that would be invaluable to further Hellfire research. Work crews now toil non-stop, braving unspeakably fierce storms to dig shafts down into the city. Exploration teams have already begun to enter Cania by way of the first of these near-vertical passageways to search for the desired relics. I dare not tell you the rest. Mephistopheles and Quagram consider the entire city their personal hunting ground and take a dim view of poachers. However, if any interlopers were to lay hands on the relics, the Archduke would surely be willing to negotiate for their return. A recent addition to the Canian landscape, the mountain retreat called Nebulat, provides a home for the layer's displaced and discontented ice devil population. The settlement sits on shelves of magically generated ice that radiate from the side of the mountain Gelinith like a crystalline fungus. The devils of Nebulat dare not openly condemn Mephistopheles for abandoning them. Instead, they accuse Quagram and his upstart researchers of undermining their master with overrated and distinctly un-Canian fire magic. Their leader, the irritable Gelugon Tunkleth, is currently running two schemes in parallel. First, agents loyal to him spy on Quagram and company, trying to find or plant evidence of treachery against Mephistopheles. At the same time, his own pet wizards are developing a new cold-based magic called the Plume. Supposedly, this substance freezes its enemies with 1 billion tiny pellets that enter the pores as evaporated moisture, then solidify inside the bloodstream. Though the Plume is little more than a theory at present, the neglected devils of Nebulat are confident that it will eventually deliver them from their mountainous self-exile. A crude but effective lie to tell themselves, dearest reader. Mephistopheles, Lord of Hellfire and Duke of Brimstone, I call upon you in your fiery elegance. I pledge myself to you, rightful King of Hell. One day, your dark power will reign supreme. So spoke a trembling mortal in the shadow of Mephistar, gentles. And in that moment, thy humble guide decided his business in Cania was very nearly concluded.